Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to What's Working Now. I'm with Mike McCaw. Mike, what is it you do?
Well, what is it I do? I have a company called Spacecrafting, and we are in Minneapolis, St. Paul area, and also in Florida, Southwest Florida, and Colorado. And we create visual media for real estate agents, architects, designers, and new construction builders to help them sell their products. So that's what we do in a
Huh.
nutshell.
So basically, would you say you're a media company?
Yes. So when I started the company, we called ourselves Spacecrafting Photography, and we added video later and added 3D technology. So we, pivoted into a digital media company, and that's kind of the way most people that do what we do would call themselves. We almost act as an ad agency sometimes, taking things from script to screen and involved in all the processes. So we kind of just hover in that area. So,
And you started this how long ago?
2006 is when we started as Spacecrafting. I was in the industry for a couple of years prior to that, but went out on my own in 2006. So we are going to be in our 20th year next year.
Ooh, congrats.
Yeah. And when we were doing this back in 2006, you could Google real estate photography, and in the Minneapolis, St. Paul area, you might get 2 or 3 options, and now you might get 200 or 300. So it's the industry has changed, and thank goodness we got in when we did. So,
Yeah. Yeah. So take me back 20 years ago. What was it? Because I started in real estate in 2005, and there were very few professional photographers that specialized in homes, but mainly our advertising, our marketing for homes was in, there was a magazine that you would pick up at the grocery store, uh, Homes and Land,
Okay.
print ads in the
Sure.
newspaper, things like that. Fast forward 20 years, and we've got agents that are brand new in the business that are cutting reels, catching, 2
Yeah,
million views on it, right?
exactly. Yeah. Well, interesting. In 2003 and 4, when I first started working in this medium, um, I think the statistics were 5% or 3 or 5% of agents were using any sort of professional photographer. And some of them at the time were actually film photographers. So this is where, right when film switched to digital, and it changed everything. And online, no one really cared if they had a website or if they had online presence. They were really more concerned about the book. And in the Twin Cities, they had a book
Oh
that
yeah.
would have one picture of the front of the house and then a printed description. And then that agent would go out and make 100, 150 copies at these 1-hour photo places, and then take a sticky marker and put a sticker, on a page, and then someone would staple that all together. And so every real estate, or bind them or whatever. So a real
Yeah.
estate agent would walk out with a book this big with the listings. They'd page through and go, "Do you want to go see this house?" And
Yeah.
all they'd see is the front of the house. I mean, this
Yeah.
is when we started. So
Dude.
some of these young bucks who are, they have no idea how real estate used to happen. And yes, people would put ads in the Sunday paper with just a picture of the house, and hopefully that would drum up interest. So those that had good curb appeal back then probably did a lot better.
Oh
But
yeah.
now, of course, when you're able to see its entirety through awesome photos and videos and the 3D walkthroughs, I mean, the game has completely changed, and people can pretty much decide on the house they want in their pajamas at 11:30 at night.
Yeah. Saturday Night Live did a really good skit on that during
Oh, I
COVID.
saw that. Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I remember that.
Well, and
That's
it's becoming the media side of it, with the advent of social media and a lot of real estate agents realizing that they can utilize social media to push out their brand, to gain followers, which translates to sellers as, hey, I've got X number of followers. I do videos on every home.
yeah,
The seller sees it as, oh, I'm getting increased exposure, which is what they're ultimately looking for. especially the nice ones. What products do you see being the most effective, at least in the utilization side for people that are trying to sell? Because you don't just deal with real estate agents; you deal with builders also.
Correct. Yeah. So, started out in real estate photography, but once you shoot a really nice house and that has a builder attached to it and an interior designer, and they see your photos, they're like, "Hey, we never had that professionally photographed. Can I license images for that property?" And then you start establishing those relationships. So over the last 20 years, we've made a lot of those relationships. And so I live on a lake called Lake Minnetonka in Minnesota, and we just talked about that, but um, lots of great architecture, and usually they have an architect and an interior design attached to those. And so after
Yeah.
shooting so many of them, we're now working with not just the luxury real estate agent that's selling that property, but when it's first being built, we're usually the first ones that they call too for their portfolio pieces, for the designer, architect,
Yeah.
builder, landscape architect, cabinet maker, and the list goes on and on. So we've found a lot more revenue streams for us in that world, and keeping, real estate can fluctuate with interest rates and the markets, and so having um, other streams of income coming in from our images is kind of nice. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
you're maintaining the same basic job. You're just expanding who the end user can be,
Yes,
helping them
exactly.
all build portfolios. More more static image or more video? What are you
Well,
seeing
it's
demand for?
all demand for video is huge. And, we started doing, I want to say maybe 10 years ago or so,
Yeah.
when we started doing real full on productions. And it was the day in the life. It was the driving up in the car, meeting the, family, and going out on a boat ride, and the jet skis, and seeing a family live in a house.
Lifestyle.
More
Lifestyle
more
video.
full story lifestyle videos, more full stories. And we were definitely the first ones to do that in the Twin Cities. There's one on YouTube that you can Google, Date Night Minneapolis. You should check that one out. It
Okay.
was kind of a fun one, but it went viral here, and was on the front page of the home section, say, "Is this the new way to market homes in the Twin Cities?" And it was a lifestyle. There was a little controversy to that one, but it was kind of fun. So, but that kind of sparked it for us, and now more and more agents are wanting to be, in front of the camera and being kind of the star of not necessarily that property, but of their brand, to be able to get out there. And as people's social media following is growing and growing, just like on all the coasts, and you see Ryan Serhant, and you see, all these influencers around the country, that's trickling down here, and we're seeing that, all over the place. And some are better at it than others, obviously, but everyone's trying to be a little bit more savvy about how they're going to market themselves as well as the properties that they're representing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I
Yeah,
think that's probably the future of it. I mean, I think we're
I
living
think
in
so
it.
too. We definitely are. And with that, there's so many different ways to slice a video too. And it's the most challenging part of our business, I think. Everybody wants the newest, most creative kind of thing, and you're getting hit on all sides. Like, let's do this, let's do that, there's lots of fun ideas. And trying to get all that done at a price point that is affordable for an agent is sometimes a little challenging. And
Yeah.
you want to put out quality products, and so that's been the biggest challenge, I think, for us, is being able to fit all those wonderful things into in a price point that people can actually scale for their business, and say, all right, well, this is what I'm going to allocate for homes of a million on up, and and so on, and
Right.
finding those products that work for them.
Have you had to offer a la carte So, hey, if this is your budget, this is what we're really looking at.
Yeah. Um, well, and you also want to keep people in house. So we have
Hmm.
been the leader in this industry for almost 20 years. And they're coming to us for everybody still needs beautiful real estate video photos to be able to
Photos,
get
correct.
people in. So
Yeah,
that's usually the first thing that people are going to lead with if they're hoping to get people from the MLS, because not everybody has a really strong social media following. So if you
correct.
don't have many followers, you're not going to get that much interest in something. So starting with the photos and then adding these different things, um, you have to develop products to keep them under our roof, and
Yeah.
being able to add the different video products is what we've just had to do and come up with just fun and new ideas. And there's lots of people doing this, and once you start looking at things online, I mean, you just fed all around the country all these crazy videos, and some of them are absolutely hilarious too. It's fun to watch for sure.
Let me ask you this question. This has nothing to do with your business, but since you're in that space,
Yeah.
I'm just curious, and this is a non-judgmental piece, so don't anybody clip this out and be like, Mike said this.
Uh-oh.
What I've noticed is some of the videos that really go viral
Hmm.
are actually the agent talking about or mentioning things in more of a derogatory fashion.
Hmm.
So it would be, hey, look at this house. There's a woman in, I believe she's in Miami, and she did a
I know
video. The house we see, you and I both know the video, right?
exactly who you
Um,
are.
I should know her name, and somebody will tag me in this and be like,
Yep.
"That's her," and I give her total credit. But there's two sides of the argument within the real estate community, and one is, can you? And I had somebody in my market, another agent had listed the house, and the person knew I was in real estate. The sellers pulled me aside and said, "We want you to watch this video and tell us what you think." The sellers had not conferred with the agent, and the agent didn't say exactly what they were going to do. And I don't know if the girl in Miami had the conversation with her sellers saying, "Hey,
Yeah.
I'm going to poke fun at your home, or I'm going to poke fun at the buyer, whatever, but it's going to get a lot of attention." So there's this trade-off of, do I, and maybe the sellers are in on it, maybe they're not, do I make fun of the house and it gets a ton of attention, which is ultimately the goal? Or do I play it safe and be respectful? Because I've listed homes where I would love to, and none right now, obviously. This is all in the past. But I've had houses where I'm like, oh my gosh, what were you thinking with this setup or with this? Or God, I'd love to make fun of it. But my seller would see it as an insult, and that's not my job. My job is to represent the home in the best light. So, what are your thoughts on that?
It completely depends on the seller, and some people want to be so private about so many different things, and that's a challenge too when you have we go out and shoot some of these amazing properties, and then they just will only trickle out just small snippets of things, and
Right.
you want these productions to see the light of day, but people are really private. So you've got that group of people, but then I think it's just how the agent finesses that conversation, and then they have to prove it probably one or two times before they would allow that.
Right.
But there's another thing too. I remember, back in the day when I'd have to be sometimes the bad guy when I'm out shooting and telling people how to, the agent would be like, I really don't like, this over here, and I don't want to offend them and stuff like that. And so I would be the guy who goes and says,
Oh
this
yeah.
is going to look so much better if we do this, this, and this. And they're like, well, I really like that. And I'm like, well, and then I sometimes have these conversations like, you want to sell this, and you don't want to be the owner anymore. You've got to start giving up a little bit of that ownership
Right.
at some point, because when you're out of there, you're not, this isn't yours.
No.
So you shouldn't care so much about that. However, but everyone's different. And but yeah, that girl we're talking about, I'm going to find her too right away on Instagram, I'm sure. But she's done dozens and dozens of those. And
Yeah.
is this real deadpan. I mean, she's a stand-up comedian though too. I mean, she's that good.
Oh, but she's good.
Her
It's a
delivery is
perfect brand. It's a perfect brand for her because it's authentic and
yeah.
it garners attention. I mean, it's
Yep.
wonderful.
Now garners attention. So I had lunch with a guy who's in this industry, and he gave me statistics about the agents on camera. They're not selling the home I mean, the statistics were not there that says that helped sell that house.
Sure.
Now, I would argue that if you have a big enough following, like a Ryan Serhant or a Don McKenna or Frederick Eklund and those guys, um, I think you do get a lot of people just following them anyway. And then if they see something that they really like, they can bite on that.
Sure.
But I think the local person who has 1,000 or less followers, is it really helping them sell that house as much as maybe a beautiful MLS compliant video that more and more people can see? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. But I think exposure is great. We just
Right.
did this. There's this cute little island on Lake Minnetonka. There's only 14 homes on it, and it's a historic place. And these homes only come around once in a decade or more, because you usually are willed into them,
Right.
or the family just keeps them in their homes in their families for generations. So this particular couple had it for 30 plus years. And we did this sweet little video, just, just real quiet little movements, but just like life on Crane Island. And that video just got so much attention. And and this was just 2 weeks ago, 10 offers on this island, which, not everybody wants to live on an island because it's
Sure.
tough to get there. You got to have a boat to go back and forth, and you got to have a deeded or another slip somewhere to be able to keep your boat. 10 offers. They were on at 1.25, sold for over 1.6,
Wow.
based on the video, because
Yeah.
everyone just fell in love with that whole vibe and that lifestyle. And hopefully by the time this airs, maybe that will have been public knowledge, and maybe I shouldn't have said that right now, but
When does it
no one
close?
said I couldn't say anything. Hey, I didn't give an address out, did I? No,
No, you did not. You
I
did
didn't.
not.
And I didn't mention the agent's name or anything like that.
That's perfect. Yeah.
All right, good.
Yeah. I'm sure nobody could figure that out.
Quiet.
Exactly. That's the funny thing
But
about real
that's the
estate.
power of a good visual. And we've been told
Yeah.
that dozens and dozens of times over the years. And, that people from out of state will make a purchase agreement on a property just based on a video because they're like, I got to have that house. And I know it's going to go in multiples. And they're like, I'll take it. And that happens, more than you'd think.
Well, and I think, and this, I mean, I've got 20 years of experience in this industry, and I will tell you that people buy on feel, and it more often than not, it's, hey, I saw the photos. The photos look great. We just need to
Yep.
walk into the home and we need to feel it. And I understand that that's not a tangible thing,
Mhm.
that's an emotional thing. But I do think that video has the ability to tie people in to the emotional side of it and actually get a feel for, and that's what those lifestyle videos are, right? And I think that's just the smartest. It doesn't really matter about the price point. What you're trying to do is you're trying to say, hey, if you lived here, this is what life would be like when you were at home.
Yeah, definitely.
And if you can connect the two for them, it makes it a lot easier. We have had clients that were out of state that were moving into Reno and had watched videos and made offers on homes. And their only contingency really was, hey, we just want to walk the house to make sure that the feeling we got from the video is exactly what we're going to feel there.
Yeah. And the
Uh,
roof doesn't leak.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Do our inspections. But the video was powerful enough to get them to act.
I agree.
So
Yeah,
where do
it's been fun to be a part of that, to help change the way people market, and getting in on the ground floor has been exciting. And we were definitely ones that transformed in this state, how things were done. And people have told me that, since we started it, we really did. I used to say jokingly, I invented real estate photography in Minnesota. And it's not, I mean, it sounds boastful, but We really did. We were absolute pioneers, and people weren't telling stories back then. They would just do 12 photos, throw them out on the MLS. Here's one shot of the living room, one shot of the kitchen, one shot of the bedroom. When we started doing this, even in slideshows, we put them together as like this experience walking through. You're being pulled through the front door. You're going on this journey, and each photo kind of connected to the other. And we were the only ones doing that. And within like few years, everyone around the country was doing that. And then the Matterport stuff, and of course, video
Oh
and
yeah.
all that came along. But
Yeah.
we were the original storytellers, and I'm really proud of that.
You know what's next though, right? You know what's coming.
Oh, uh-oh. Well, are you gonna say like AI um walkthroughs or what? What are you gonna say?
Oh yeah. No, it'll be you'll put your Google headset on
Sure. Well, that
and you'll
happened
walk through
already,
the house.
didn't it? That happened. So that happened with, I mean, even with Oculus back, we did a VR party at my space. We got rid of it now, but we had a office downtown Minneapolis, and we had this big VR party where we had all these different ways to view. You could walk around and point with something, and you could see that different stuff, or you could just see, kind of just go through by hitting something. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of different ways. I've done that through an architect locally that had this rented out this big warehouse where you walked the entire house, like you physically walked those steps all the way around a 6,000 square foot home. And it was amazing. And you get a little freaked out because you'd walk out into a balcony
Yeah.
and it would be over a pool, and you really felt like you were going to jump off that ledge. It's
You,
insane.
you get one
So I
guy
mean, I
that
guess
tries
it's
to dive.
there. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's there. The technology is already there. Do you think I mean, how else will that be different, do you think?
Well,
As
you
far
know,
as people are gonna really put on the goggles all the time?
no, I don't want to make guesses because I know I'm going to be wrong, and I know that what just like you're talking about. Hey, we already have it. I represent a couple of builders here in town, nationwide builders, and I know eventually that their sales office will simply be, hey, put this headset on, and we'll walk you through the different floor plans. Um,
Yeah, I think that does happen, and I think now because, it's a different generation where that will be more of a thing. I kinda saw it come and go already here,
yeah,
and a lot of architects studios had their little VR room, and they don't even use it anymore, so and even with Matterport, you can do that with all
right,
of those things, so, but I do think a younger generation, and especially those, I mean, think about it. Think of all the gamers that are going to be buying houses. I mean,
yeah, yeah.
you know,
You can gamify it. You can do
you
paintball
can.
wars throughout the house.
Yeah.
What
Those are the guys that we hired to do the FPV drone fly-throughs because they
yeah,
live in that world.
it's amazing. Drone is another. I mean, it's pretty amazing what some people are doing with drones too.
So
Uh,
now I think that's the next thing with like a drone linked to a Matterport tour. So you're flying around the entire house, and then you're able to have that scanned digitally, I guess,
yeah,
and then be able to just do a whole tour like that. So you're all up and down and all around, and not just the dollhouse. I mean, the dollhouse is fine on Matterport. You know what I'm talking about, right?
yeah,
That
yeah.
dollhouse view.
Well, yeah,
Um,
we use the 360 cam
yeah,
to
we
walk
we do
through.
too.
Yeah,
And we did a peninsula on a lake in northern Minnesota. It was like 3.5 acres, and it had 6 guest cabins and a main house, and then apartment above garage and all that. And that was the biggest project that we've ever done, a continuous walkthrough. So you could walk all the way down the beach to the point where the volleyball courts were, and then back up this drive, and you could go into each one of the cabins. It's like a Google, map
yeah,
basically, where
yeah.
street
Google Earth.
view that you can walk in.
Yeah,
Which is, I think it's awesome. And we also do it where some people who don't want to have to navigate it themselves, we can set it to a program where you
play.
just hit play and you just sit back and go,
Just
okay,
sit and watch.
yeah.
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 No, that's awesome. That's awesome. What's if you were speaking to and if they're listening or watching, you're talking to a real estate agent. What's one or two, maybe three things that you would tell them? Hey, you definitely have to incorporate this when you're listing a home.
Well, um, I mean, obviously, photos, still photos. Night shoot is going to be something that draws people in as well. A twilight shoot,
Yeah.
really probably is one of the best ways to get that first time looker from. But it all depends on the house. Not every house is going to be a great candidate, but plenty are. And also, if because it's very seasonal here in Minnesota, and when the leaves leave the trees,
Oh yeah.
and you've got brown yards, sometimes the twilight shoot is the best way to open that, because otherwise, you're not, you're diminishing the fact that we're in dormant season. So,
Exactly.
but
No makeup.
the
No makeup. Turn the lights down.
exactly, yeah. But then I think video for sure is a great way to do it. And people are doing videos on $220,000 homes to 200 million.
Yeah.
And there's a way to make something look good. You just have to be a talented videographer or editor, to be able to just breathe some cool story life into it. So
Yeah.
but
That's
definitely
it.
that. And I mean, and if they are the type of person that is really big on selling themselves, and they can handle themselves on camera, be a part of that, be the face of your brand. It's really competitive, and I look at the ones that are out in front of their brand right now in the Twin Cities, and they're the ones who have all the listings.
Yes.
And because I can see it when the orders come through, I'm like, this person, that person, that person, it's crazy how many orders they're coming through, but they're also really involved in their brand, and their face and their voice sometimes are a part of that.
I
So
would. I
get
would
out in
agree.
front of the brand, right?
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the
That's what
differentiator
everybody
in the
says. I mean,
future.
yeah. But
Yeah.
you hear that at all the big annual rah-rah meetings for all the different brokerages. They're always telling you video, 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 get in front of your brand. Here's how you do it. And then you've got all these influencers and podcasters, and they're all saying that.
Yes.
Um, So it's just finding a way to do it that you're comfortable. And we have people that are like, we're not sure how to do this. Well, like, you don't have to, if you're not great talking in front of the camera, let's get you just interacting in the space,
Yeah.
then doing a nice voiceover.
Exactly.
And,
Yeah.
and we'll be able, and that way you don't have to nail it on the cut. We can work. It's a lot easier to read a script and not have a camera on you and
Seriously.
deliver that better, right?
Yes. It's just welcome to 123 Main Place.
See, that's the way you're not supposed to start a video now. You're not supposed
No.
to they call it a hook.
Hook.
So
Yeah.
you got to hook them with, and the one right now that everybody's doing is like, do you know what $10 million on Lake Minnetonka can get you? Let me show you right now.
Exactly.
Come on.
I've done it, man.
Yeah.
Hey, guilty, Mike.
Hey, but that is kind of the thing now. It's like, let me show you what everybody's talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing you need to know if you're going to buy a house in Reno, I'll tell you at the end. Stay till the end.
Stay tuned.
No, it's crazy. It's amazing how much branding, and you're a marketer too. It's amazing how much branding has come into play in the real estate space over the last few years,
Yeah.
as agents try to differentiate themselves. So
Definitely.
all good stuff. Well, I appreciate your time, Mike. Hey, if somebody sees this or hears this and they want to connect with you, what's the easiest way for them to do that?
Probably through Instagram. And
Cool.
that's spacecrafting_photography. It's a
Well,
mouthful.
make
I
it
know.
difficult for them, Mike.
Hey, listen. I don't know why we can't get just at spacecrafting. It's a mystery to me. No one can figure it out. It's not being used by anybody else. So we may go to spacecrafting_media or whatever, but right now it's at spacecrafting_photography. But we've got some beautiful things out there. I'm wondering, is there any way to have a link put onto this here? I mean, I know you can to a website, but
Yeah, we can do that.
no, I thought it
You
might
can-
be fun to have a link to like some of those really fun lifestyle videos that we've done.
Yeah,
What
no,
can
no, and
we work on
I mean,
that?
I follow real estate agents all over the country just because I want to see what they're doing and how they're
Yeah.
doing it. And um, the funny thing about social media is, yes, one person comes up with an idea and shoots it, and then 1,000 people take that idea, add their
Yep.
own spice to it, and then one out of or two out of those blows up on it. But it's a fairly collaborative space, and I mean, you can only own an idea until you put it out, right? That's about it. You can't trademark it, thank goodness. Um, but some of the best videos I have seen were very engaging. The house was it was part of it, but the story behind it is really what drew me in. So,
Totally.
and I think the first video that I saw that I really thought was neat was probably 12, 13 years ago. And it was a guy in Orange County, Southern California. And it was just a really engaging story. And he was doing great with, and I thought, man, here's the thing. If you're a broke real estate agent and you don't have any money, you better get creative and learn editing, and
Yeah.
you shoot it with your phone, and it's not going to be the high end production. But if you've got $1 million or above listing, a 20% allocation from your commission on that should go to marketing, should go to back into selling the property. And I'm a firm believer, and I spend a lot of money on videos and the production of those videos, the capture, the editing, all of that. It's not cheap, but I'll tell you, I believe it's totally worth it for the brand
I
and for the
agree.
house.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I figured you did. I mean, what are you gonna say? No, we're not worth it. Um,
No, it's just I'm finding that in different parts of the country, they're willing to spend money on quality products, and certain ones are not. And there's
yeah.
a lot of players in this space that are willing to give away their product, and it's a little challenging, but you know we're doing well, so
Yeah. Well, I
it's
mean, a
good.
lot of people wear, women in particular carry handbags, and you don't see Louis Vuitton saying, okay, well, we'll sell them for 25 bucks. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, thanks for your time, Mike. Very
Oh,
nice to, very nice to meet you.
thanks, Mike.
Have